Today we're going to be in the field with John Deere AutoPath and demonstrate how this product works. If we look at our screen here, we can see the actual planted rows on the map. That's going to be our yellow lines. So we can see we have our end row that kind of curves along the creek, and then we can see our main rows here in the background. So I do have the option with AutoPath to view those or not view those. So if I go into my guidance button at the bottom of the page, I can go into advanced guidance settings, scroll down through the list, and look at my AutoPath display. So if I shut my rows off, that's going to shut my yellow planted rows off, and then I can also shut off the source operational passes. That's going to be where the planter actually ran. So right now I'm on a 40-foot track spacing, which is the same width as the planter for the side dress bar. So if I adjust that to a different width for an illustration purpose, it's going to regenerate my lines. And we can see the blue lines are going to be my guidance lines for my 30-foot track spacing. But I can also see green lines that actually show me the center of each planter pass if it's different for a different width tool than you're coming back in the second time. So if I wanted to shut those off, I can also go into guidance advanced settings and shut the source operation passes off as well. Then I'll lose my green lines. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and turn those both back on. Then we'll see them back on the map. So the whole key to making AutoPath works is we have to go to guidance, and instead of selecting our original tracks that we may have set up in the field, we're going to pick AutoPath. So if I would happen to pick a south side AB line, I could run that. Then I'll just go to set track and then pick my AutoPath planning data to get that AutoPath file load. So as I said, we can change the track spacing for a different width tool if it doesn't match our actual planter width. So in this example, I'm going to change, and then we'll see how our source operational passes change along with the guidance lines that are generated. So I'm going to go from a 30-foot implement to a 100-foot implement to simulate a sprayer. And then it's going to regenerate my guidance lines based on that 100-foot track spacing. So as we can see here, I have a blue line that's going to be 50 feet from the edge of the field to match up with the outside row. And then I have another guidance line 20 feet over to match up with my second part of the headland pass that's also 50 feet from the edge. I do have the ability with AutoPath to change a couple settings. If I go into set track, I go into AutoPath and choose the pencil to edit, I do have the ability to change how I want to generate that line. So currently I'm set up for follow the rows and optimize my guidance lines for the fewest pass in the field. I also have the ability to change it to follow my source operation paths. So basically what that means is if you can follow the actual planter passes, do that. So I'm going to choose that option and then regenerate my guidance passes. So now instead of having my two guidance lines that are only 20 feet apart in the center, I can see my first one is still 50 feet from the edge of the field, but my next one is actually following that planter pass that was along the edge of the headland. So if it can, relative to the track spacing, it's going to try to follow your planter passes as much as possible. So again, that was just a setting in set track, edit, and then line generation. We also have the ability to shift track AutoPath if needed. So I currently set up for a 1-inch shift, and we have the ability to shift up to 6 inches. So if we kind of zoom in closely here, if we watch our white line, we'll shift that over, and then you'll see the yellow lines adjust over to match. You can see those yellow lines, then they'll jump over here in a second to match. So the green line that you can still maybe see there, that the source operational path, that will still stay the same, but I can shift the rows over if needed. If I need to clear those out, I can simply shift back until my shift is on 0, or I can go into set track, edit, go to shifts, and then clear shifts if needed. So at this point, we're going to change it back to 40 feet since our planter and our side dress bar are both 40 feet. And then everything will match up nicely with our source operational passes, and then we'll put it to the test. So we can see here this field kind of curves along this creek, so we're going to let AutoPath follow this curve. So we'll get ready to go here, and as we can see out in front of us here, we can see the rows kind of curve around the creek on the headland. So we'll put AutoPath to the test here and kind of show how it works, bouncing back and forth from the planted rows back to the screen. So I can see my auto track's on. We'll simply hit auto track. You can see it following the rows. So another really nice feature of AutoPath is I have the ability to simply change from a headland line to a main line without ever having to switch track. I can simply just grab the wheel, make my turn, it'll switch over to the other line, hit auto track, and then we'll be going back through our long row passes through the field. So that is a quick overview on how John Deere AutoPath works from John Deere.